I mean, first and foremost for me, Twitter is news. I get more news out of Twitter now than I do probably any other source. It is faster, and it brings more different strands of input on what's going on with the news in a more easily available way than any other tool that's available to me. I mean, and so that first and foremost is what Twitter does for me. And then, I think secondly, yeah, it's a fun little outlet to sort of blow off steam and say silly stuff about what's going on in the campaign. There are people who do it in a much more strategic way. I'm not one of them. But I think the other thing that I think I've really, the Twitter, social media has been really good for me, and I think if you look at some of the movements that have happened in our country over the last couple of years, it's clearly not just me. It has brought voices. So this is where I think it is a little bit more of a conversation. There are voices that maybe I wouldn't have been exposed to in other contexts that Twitter has brought into my world and helped educate me on issues, whether it is, Black Lives Matter or, a fuller, richer conversation about feminism that happens online in a way that maybe doesn't happen in some other spaces that, that I'm in or that a lot of people are in. And I think, to some degree, and I say that cognizant of, one of the downsides of the social media world are, rampant online harassment and stuff like that shouldn't, that needs to be solved. But on the other side, I think it has allowed a space for conversations to take place in a richer way that should be happening in a lot of other spaces. But this is a space that has opened that up, and I think you saw that even in looking at Ferguson. Looking at Baltimore, looking at sort of what happens on Twitter, what happens on social media, and how that pushes the conversation up, into sort of broader outlets, and I think that's only for the good. And I think that is, it's easy to dismiss social media as, oh, it's nothing, or it's just, angry commenters yelling. But there's actually important stuff getting lifted up and getting amplified and rich conversations happening. And so I think that is one of the real values there.